blueprint for this Mastery Rank 8 Velox can be bought from the marketplace. It is right there. But sadly, like every other weapon for this, including the frame, everything is behind the Granum Void to get the parts. Luckily, there's only 2 parts for this, so not so bad with a 12-hour build, but still really hoping this thing is absolutely amazing. More so because it does come with 2 Vs, which means, well, you're instantly into the damage, and the fact it's full auto, I'm going to throw that on, even though every part of me is saying to put that on as well. Instantly you have an insane amount of damage. Full auto works well off multi-shot mods. It has also done something to the crit I didn't expect, meaning it may be worth trying to prime mod this with way more crit. Doesn't really leave much for these. Well, no, actually it does. There's still 3 mod slots left here. We'll have to see in time. Oh, I really hope this thing's good. Did get this when Protea came out through 4 form units. Enjoyed it quite a bit, and then the Steel Path came out and this thing became completely useless. I straight away started to compare this to the Twin Vipers. That would be the Twin Wraith Vipers, because they are the better version of the Vipers. And yeah, this thing does a total of 6 more damage, fires slower, has less crit, has less status, but less crit multiplier, but has more status. It has 22, Vipers only have 9, but these do more damage. So, in my mind, this should have been better. It kind of is, but suffers all the same problems that the Viper did. Which, sadly, these days, is one of the reasons that nobody uses the Twin Vipers anymore. Once you get past a certain point in the game. If you are just completing the star chart for the first time round, it's great. The Twin Vipers will work wonders. This, same thing. The second you try doing sorties or Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, or even touch the Steel Path, this thing will start to let you down pretty quickly. It seems like one of the best ways I can put this is it was designed to be a dual wielding weapon, but not at the same time. It's good. I liked it. The ammo efficiency is further increased when you use Protea with it. So using Protea with it means that it will basically continue going for as long as you can. But because it deals so little damage and fires so fast, the ammo consumption of this thing is not as bad as the Tenocon weapon. And I always pronounce the thing wrong. Anthodia, whatever that is. That thing, yeah, that suffers massively from lack of ammo. Whereas, literally have it selected. This thing, see what I mean about it does more damage than the Twin Wraith Vipers, but comparing it to the single Viper would probably be the best thing to do because they work so similarly. But yeah, it's maybe when they do this to it, because, well, the Twin Vipers are something that exists, and this started as the single Viper. It was a huge update when they released the Twin Vipers. It was massive. Hopefully they'll do kind of the same thing with this in the future, but it is highly doubtful considering it's Protea's signature secondary. When she gets a rework in the future, because, well, all frames seem to be given reworks at some point, so maybe they'll rework her in the future. Not that she really needs it, but maybe then they may give it a second one. But until then, there's the chance of this being dual wielded is pretty much non-existent. And I think it was that realization right there, because this is Protea's signature weapon, and one of the perks to this is the ammo efficiency is increased when you use Protea with it. There's not going to be a dual wielding version of this, which would be great because, well, it reminded me so much of the Twin Vipers, and I loved the Twin Vipers. They were, and actually, funny thing, all this time later, no, it's equipment, isn't it? They still are my most used secondary. If we actually put this to used, the nearest thing is massive percentage beneath it. I used the Sonicore for years before I swapped it to the Catch Moon, and even the Catch Moon is nowhere near catching up to this because it goes by time used, and for years I used the Twin Vipers, the Bratton, the Skoliak, and Frost. Even Frost is still there. Nothing comes close to being used as much as that, even though you're talking 52.5 million experience and 57,000 kills versus half that in kills and 6.5 million experience. Because the enemies weren't as high a level, Affinity was a lot harder to come by back then, but it is still my most used secondary. So I was looking forward to it until that one realization that even though this thing up to enemy level 80 or 90, so much fun. I enjoyed it a lot. On the steel path, this thing was pretty much useless because it runs out of ammo too quickly. It still works on the steel path if you elemental match against the faction you are going up against, which is one of the key points to the whole steel path. It works, but it doesn't work as efficient as pretty much anything else in the game, because it has a 14% crit chance, it has 22% status, and if you throw on both the crit mods, throw on 2 elemental mods to give it an elemental chance. I was going up against the Corpus, so it has magnetic on it, even with Magnum Force, which is 165% damage, Auger Pact plus 90% damage, Hornet Strike plus 220% damage, Barrel Diffusion, which works just a little bit better than Lethal Torrent does, because Lethal Torrent increases the fire rate as well, so keeping it this way decreased the fire rate, and throwing primed pistol ammo mutation on there. This, well, people are going to go to the comment section and mention this to begin with. This 40.2% crit chance did not help it at all. This, with the elemental side of it, adding the status chance of 60% on each of them, taking it to 48.4% status, did not help in the slightest. The only thing that kind of saved this was the fact that we have damage with damage stacked on top of damage. With multi-shot. Multi-shot works great on this, but damage, damage, and damage, probably what saved this thing from just straight up being horrible. This is how I kind of ran the thing, and honestly, trying to run status and crit was a complete waste of time. Run either status or build it for crit. Yeah, to be honest, building this for status worked so much more than it did for crit, depending on what you were doing with them and how you were using it, but the fact that it had a 40.2% crit chance with only a 3.8 times crit multiplier and that 15... I always want to say 15 times fire rate. That 15 fire rate, it eats ammo really quickly. That's what reminded me of the Viper, and it was so much fun right up until the point I remembered Protea's signature weapon will never be dual wielded. It's good, but a dual wielding version would have made it so much better. If it came as a dual wielding version with these stats, this thing also would have been... It's good, it works on the normal stuff. As soon as you turn it to the steel path, like every other weapon in the game really, there's a lot of them that just suffer really badly. This, considering the steel path followed this, I was hoping it was going to be better for that, but it wasn't. So sadly, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.